Is it something I've said?
No.
Well, why aren't you talking to me?
The eardrum is a very delicate mechanism, Jack. If my voice is going to permanently injure everybody's eardrums, well then, I shall remain silent.
She's gone balmy, she has. Stone jugs.
Thank you for your sympathy, Jack.
There's nothing wrong with your voice.
There was last night, wasn't there?
Eh?
Look, Jack, last night I rendered Ivor Novello's We'll Gather Lilacs with melody, feeling, and undoubted charm. And what happened? I didn't even come third.
By the left. You don't half go round the cat's backside, don't you? Well, you do. I wouldn't take a vow of flipping silence just because I didn't win a daft singing contest. You do talk some rubbish when you get going.
Yes, well, I shan't be talking much in future, so don't worry.
Now, Annie, behave yourself. I think you sing very nicely. Well, I reckon you should have come first at least.
Yes, well, you're biased, aren't you?
Eh?
After all, love is blind.
Eh? Oh, but what does a flipping working men's club know about the price of cheese any road? I mean, they're no criterion.
You're not as silly as you look, are you?
Well, what have I said now?
It was the wrong audience.
Eh?
Well, Jack, how often does Maria Callas do a week at the Viaduct Sporting Club? They wouldn't know a good voice if they heard one. No, it was the wrong audience.
Hello.
Hello, love, finished your breakfast?
Yeah, I've washed up and all.
Good. Where are you off to?
Town. I've 10 quid to get shut off.
Pardon, love?
10 quid, my prize money.
Oh.
Never had that much money in my life.
You stick tight, love. It has a funny habit of getting spent.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to nose around the windows, unless I see something I really fancy. Got something, Mrs. Walker. I reckon you were rock last night.
Pardon, love?
I reckon you should have come in third. I thought you showed great promise.
Oh, thank you, Lucille.
That's all right. Stay with it. Try.
You see, love, it was the wrong audience. I mean, picking Lucille first proves it. After all, you could hardly call her diction outstanding, could you? And when it comes to accent... Of course, if some of those people at the club could hear their own voices on a tape recorder, they'd never speak again.
No, love.
And the amazing part is, you know, Jack, I never had an elocution lesson in my life.
No, love.
I suppose it's just a natural gift.
Yes, love.
Bobby!
Not here, love.
Oh, have you seen him passing?
No, I haven't seen him all day.
Oh, it's getting quite a labour looking for him these days. Oh, he is a naughty pussy, straying like he does.
Ah, well, it's his nature, same as it's mine to stop put. Except I've got no option.
Oh, you got a lawnmower?
Aye, that would give me years since I hung on to it. I used to think, well, you never know, one of these days you might have a bit of lawn. Not much good for scrap now.
I used to fancy a bit of lawn myself once.
You know, I'd have given out for a decent bit of garden with a little greenhouse happen.
My father had a greenhouse where we used to live. I were born there. Oh, not in the greenhouse, of course, but it's not there anymore now, the house where I was born.
Because I've got my allotment, mind, but that's a tidy walk for me these days. I don't get down here as often as I'd like, on account of the walk,
I felt funny when it wasn't there no more. It didn't seem right pulling it down.
Mind you know, it's surprising what you can grow around here when you make your mind up to it, in spite of all the muck.
I were very happy as a child. Well, at least it seems like it looking back.
Few flowers, bit of mint, a lettuce or two, it makes a big difference.
She was a lovely woman, was my mother, when my father was alive. It never was really the same after.
Yeah, it must be grand looking over your own bit of garden of an evening with the smell of the flowers coming up. Hey, do you know what I've been thinking?
It makes a big difference.
Yes, well, I have every sympathy with Mr. Tatlock. I think it's a very good idea.
He's making some work for himself.
Work?
Ah, well, I mean, there's a lot of hard work in a garden.
Oh, nonsense. It's creation. It's good for the soul.
Blowing bad for the back, too, when you get to his age.
Oh, Mr. Moffat, to hear Mr. Walker talk, you would think he had no finer feelings whatsoever. And yet, do you know, during the war, he wrote me letters that were sheer poetry.
Hey, shut up, Annie.
Oh, yes, they were. Sheer poetry.
Oh, yes. Lovely.
There were times when they actually brought tears to my eyes.
Shut up, will you?
Yes, well, I'll better go and see what Mrs. Caldwell wants for me, you know. Cheers.
Hey, Annie, I wish you wouldn't say things like that in front of customers. It's very embarrassing.
I'm very proud of those letters, Jack. I wouldn't be ashamed to read them in public.
You'd better not.
You know, love, it seems a long time since you said to me, well, the sort of thing you used to say.
Oh.
We seem to have grown apart these last few years, don't we?
No, of course we haven't, love. It's just, well, we're getting older, love.
Terrible, isn't it?
Is it, heck? I mean, look on the other side. We don't row as much as we used to.
No. Jack, I know I'm not, you know, like I used to be, but you do still care, don't you?
Now you know I do.
Well, then, tell me you love me still.
Hey, go on with you. You're no but an old fusspot.
No, love. Please, Jack.
Of course I do.
Well, say it, love, please.
I love you. Will that do? You do get yourself into states at times, don't you?
Suppose I do.
Come on. I'll make you a cup of tea, love. If anybody comes in, they can wait.
Well, I won't waste my breath by asking where everybody is.
You know, it's a sad comment on our society, Mrs. Sharples. I mean, we haven't progressed all that far, have we? If they were throwing Christians to the lions in Albert Square, I bet you couldn't get near for the crowd.
Well, they say there's a streak of violence in all of us. Happen they're better getting rid of it over there than fighting on street corners.
For once, I'm inclined to agree with you. Now, what can I get you?
Oh, the usual. And I might as well have it in here. There's no sense in sitting in the snug of my own.
I absolutely agree. Why not have a drink with me? Now, I rather fancy a little something myself.
Well, I was never one to look a gift horse in the mouth.
What about a glass of cherry brandy?
Yeah, all right.
Here we are.
The last time I had one of them was at a footing at Bradshaw's Dye Works. I wasn't married then. I was knocking about with Sid Appleby. He was a finisher.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Sharples.
That's all in the past now, though. You're on your own here tonight, then, are you?
Yes, it's Irma's night off. And Mr. Walker has...
Gone to the wrestling?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he has.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It'll do him no harm.
What's that, Mrs. Sharples?
Mr. Walker, it'll do him good to let off a bit of steam.
Oh, no. Not my Jack. If I know my Jack, they won't get a murmur out of him.
Get it! Powell! Use your eyes! Oh, but that was Powell! He jumped his hands!
You know, this isn't bad. What did you say it was?
It's, this one's Benedictine. You know, I always fancy a little drop after my lunch on Sunday.
Very nice. Mind you, I don't bother with lunch on Sunday. It doesn't run to 2 cooked meals on a pension.
Oh, of course not. How thoughtless of me. Now, you must come and have lunch with us one Sunday. Jack and I would be delighted. And just a little glass more, Mrs. Sharples.
Ena.
Beg pardon?
Ena.
Oh.
Do you reckon you'll finish your days in this street, Annie?
Well, you know, that's hard to say, Ena. I must confess I've longed for something better. We did have a very, very nice hotel offered to us, but Jack wasn't keen. I suppose a wife's place is behind her husband.
That's right.
Mind you,
It doesn't pay to let them know.
it most certainly does not.
You know, on reflection, I thought you were very unlucky in that talent competition, Annie. I am blessed with a very good ear. And in my opinion, you were miles ahead of everybody else.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Ena.
You have a beautiful voice.
It's no better than yours.
I've heard your Rock of Ages echoing across the street on a Sunday morning. I do my best. With someone like you, a pal good and true, I'd like to leave it all behind and go and find some place